Hello everyone, you've made it to Silver. Congratulations. Welcome to the big leagues. Not quite, we're still very much in the rookie leagues. I think Silver is also the hardest league, frankly, in the sense that it takes ages to get out of Silver. Like, people start to kind of know what they're doing. You don't quite know what you're doing yet. I found Silver to be the hardest to get out of, Silver and Gold. Once you get into Platinum and Diamond, you kind of know what you're doing. So as much as it might be time consuming, you sort of start to learn faster and start to adapt faster to what's going on. Until you get to the high diamonds, when you start to play against a lot of people who are very, very good high-level master players. They're just working on their secondary characters and things like that. And then Diamond 3, 4 tends to be really difficult. Anyway, here we are in Silver, and we are going to follow the same pattern that we've followed in Bronze. So Silver 1, we're going to work on combos. Silver 2, we're going to work on some kind of game plan. Silver 3, we're going to work on okizeme, or some sort of pressure. It's going to be in Gold 4, we're going to be working on different kind of neutral pressure. In 4, we're going to introduce a new defensive concept. And then in Silver 5, we're going to be talking about things that your opponents might be doing. So the concept that we want to introduce here in Silver 1 is the combos that we can do in the corner, because they're quite different from the combos that we can do out in the mid screen, because in the corner your opponent gets sort of held up in the air. So we've already introduced one of these a while ago. So if I put Akuma to block all, then when I drive impact him, he's going to get held on the wall. Right. So you can see that when I splat him on the wall, he kind of holds there, and then I heavy punch Hoshogeki him, and the Hoshogeki always juggles, but in the mid screen you wouldn't be able to get that combo because it'd push him too far away from you. But in the corner, the Hoshogeki juggles him and he just sticks there in front of you, and that's why you get to do that extra drive, that extra dragon punch at the end. Let's see it one more time. Now, the thing is, we don't actually want to use this combo very often, and I'll show you a different one in a second. But one thing that's nice about this combo is that you can convert it into a level 3 off that last dragon punch. So let's have a look at that. Now have a look at my inputs on the left-hand side. You see that I didn't actually do 2 quarter circle forwards in order to get the level 3 super out. I only did 1. So you can see the dragon punch motion. So right at the bottom, there's a bunch of neutrals and a medium punch. That's to get my Hoshogeki out. Then you see forward into quarter circle forward. That gives you the dragon punch motion. And then I just do 1 more quarter circle forward and heavy kick, and that gets me the level 3 super. This is a really important combo tip shortcut. It makes your level 3 supers so much more consistent. The reason why it works is because at the end of the dragon punch there, I've already put in 1 quarter circle forward motion, and then I put in 1 more quarter circle forward motion to get the level 3 super. That first quarter circle forward motion, even though I used it for the dragon punch, it's still buffered in the system. Right? Let's have one more look. Just watch my inputs. Right? So I think that's really worth practicing and really worth getting, because it's a skill that will transfer across a lot of different aspects of Street Fighter, but particularly it just makes your level 3 supers so much more consistent, and for Ryu, that level 3 super is a really big part of his winning strategy. Alright, so that's an important first combo for us, just to remember how to do that wall splat combo and convert into level 3. The next thing we want to talk about is throw loops. So for this, I'm going to turn off his wake ups for a second. In the corner, Ryu has a very, very powerful throw loop. If you throw someone, you end up right on top of them, right? So you can just throw them again. And look, I'm plus 17. So if I put Akuma to wake up jabbing, it's too late. So it's worth just practicing that timing, and equally, if you don't want to throw, we can also get the medium punch, right? So we just want to practice that. You can frame kill a light punch in between, and you will see some pros do that. So they'll do this. Right. And that actually does make it frame perfect once you get the timing down. But I think you can equally just get the timing down of your strike throw. But that's one option if you prefer to do it that way. And you can also just frame kill and then block, right? If you think your opponent is going to be coming out with the Gore Shoryu, then... Okay, so if you prefer the frame kill, then go right ahead. I haven't been using it, but now that I'm in Master, I might actually integrate that into my game. Alright, so get your throw loops down. That's the first thing. That's like a really foundational aspect of Ryu's pressure in the corner, especially if in the mid screen you haven't really been throwing a lot. So you're doing a lot of drive rush into heavy punch and drive rush into solar plexus and that sort of thing. And so your opponent's really used to blocking. And then suddenly when you get them in the corner, you just start throw looping them all day. If your timing is good, which mine obviously is not. Right, so you just keep throwing them. And you can also do tick throws, obviously, occasionally. Right, because Ryu also has a good tick throw. Right, he's still in throw range after you hit the light punch. Okay, so then the next combo you want to work on is a strike. But now that you're in the corner, you can do some strike combos that are a little bit more complicated than the drive rush ones we've been doing in mid-screen, or just a little bit different. So in mid-screen, because Ryu has bad Oki and he often doesn't end up on top of someone, doing this sequence is not really advisable because often you won't get the third hit. And so you'll just like whiff the third jab out in the middle, and that's not great, and you just lose your pressure. And also because sometimes you just won't be close enough, so you won't even reach with this one because you don't have the drive rush, which just generally doesn't work anywhere near as well in the mid screen. Whereas here in the corner, you've got a very dependable situation where you know exactly where your opponent is and you know exactly how they're going to wake up. So if we put Akuma to wake up with crouching light punch, and that's the first combo we're going to do, okay? And just practice that combo with Akuma set to wake up with crouching light punch and block after the first hit, okay? Right. Don't worry even about the jump in yet. Just worry about getting good timing into your light donkey kick. If you want, you can practice going into level 3 super, but this is a kind of bad way to go into level 3 super because the light hits at the start really scale the combo quite a lot. Okay, so just practice that and practice getting your wake up light kick timing so that that doesn't happen. Okay, so your light kick is always coming out at the right time to get the counter hit. Okay, why do we like this way of pressuring our opponent? So this is my main pressure tool in the corner. I obviously don't always use it, but I use it maybe like a quarter of the time. And part of the reason for that is that if my opponent wakes up crouching light punch, we've seen that it beats them. If they wake up with drive impact, then my lights come out fast enough to beat them. Right, but ideally I would just counter drive impact, and because you get a little bit of block stun like scream freeze off the first two lights, you can usually recognize that they're drive impacting really easily. Oops. And that's really nice, then you can get mad damage. Yeah, so it's just like generally a good all-round combo there, but the other thing, the most important thing about it is that it sets up a safe jump. Let's have a look at that. So I'm going to set Akuma to wake up with his OD uppercut, right? So usually if I tried to pressure him here, he would just blast straight through me, right? He got the punish counter there. Counter hit me because I was trying to light sweep him. All right. But now, if I do the light donkey kick, and as soon as I finish the light donkey kick, I'm just holding forward jump, and then when I'm in the air, I'm going to hold block and press my heavy punch. Right, this sequence. Okay. Let's see what happens then. Oh, we blocked it. Okay, so we blocked it there, but what if he hadn't done the uppercut? What if he had just woken up with crouching light punch? Wouldn't we then miss him with our heavy punch? Wouldn't we just land into nothing? No, we actually get the full jumping combo. So this is super powerful. It basically means that you get to continue your pressure for free. You take away the option for your opponent to beat you with the invulnerable reversal, either his OD uppercut or his level 1 super. That's no longer an option. If they use that option, then you're going to deal mad damage to them because you're going to block the super and then you'll be able to continue with this combo, yeah? Alright, so I think this is the most important thing to get into your corner game after throw loops. So you're going to get throw loops first, and then sometimes you're going to mix up your throw loops with this combo. Oh, this isn't going to work now. Oh yes it is, because he's on crouch light punch. Alright, so just mix those in. Make sure that you've got the timing right on that light donkey kick, first using the OD uppercuts, right? So that when you do this, you do in fact block that OD uppercut, okay? That's really important. So those are the first things we're going to get down, the throw loops and that light donkey kick safe jump setup. Now note that that light donkey kick comes off the low, right? This is really cool that it starts with this because it means your opponent has to begin crouch blocking if they want to stop you from doing this. And a lot of people don't, they just walk backwards, right? I'm not quite sure why, but they're just generally holding back, not holding crouch back. So you get this really easily. Oftentimes people also think that you're tick throwing them after this. So often you can just do this sequence and they'll block the first kick, but they won't block the next 2 jabs, and you can confirm that into your donkey kick, right? You can even, if you find that you need a bit of practice with that, then what you can do is have him put crouch light punch on block reversal, and then you can have him wake up blocking. So you can have him do wake up backwards, and then he's going to block. Let's have a look. Yeah, see, I interrupted him there. Okay, that's what we need to make sure we're doing, just rapid firing that. Turn on drive impact as well, and then if he wakes up blocking or drive impacting, you can make sure that you're reacting to both of those situations. Right, and just keep going with that loop. So what have we covered so far? We've covered throw loops, we've covered the light donkey kick safe jump setup, and we've covered beating DI in that way. So speaking of DI, one thing that we like to do in the corner is what's called a meaty DI. So we want our opponent to be waking up into our active drive impact, and one of the easiest ways to get that done is off the throw. My turn. So recall that the throw leaves you at plus 17, and this is a 26 frame button. So afterwards your opponent is basically going to wake up into your drive impact. Okay, so if your opponent wakes up pressing basically anything that's not DI, they're going to get hit drive impact by this move, alright? And you're going to get a punish counter, which leads into really big damage, much more so than the wall splat. So that's something that you want to integrate into your game as well, especially after the throw. But there are a bunch of situations where you might want a meaty DI and try to explore under what kind of circumstances Ryu wakes up with, or they wake up into your fist being like right in front of him. They can still wake up and press drive impact, they will beat you, but they're concentrating on so much stuff. You're throw looping them, you're eventually going to be shimmying them, you're hitting them low, you're doing safe jumps, you're doing all sorts of stuff that every now and then if you put in the drive impact, then you will beat them. Okay, especially if they get used to blocking because you've got such relentless pressure, especially with all your safe jumps and stuff. Your meaty timing is good, so they know not to wake up jabbing. They'll just be waking up blocking, then you just DI through them. In the lower grades, where people are waking up with drive impact all the time, I would not suggest using drive impact very often at all. Certainly not until the later rounds when you've really established that you don't throw out drive impacts and that their drive impacts don't work. Then you can sneak it in. Alright, but I thought it was worth mentioning. One reason why I wanted to mention it is when we talk about wall splat again, because there is another safe jump combo that's quite important, I think, off the wall splat, and actually generally better to do than the one we have been doing. So I'll just turn off all his reversal settings. Wake up, reversal, nothing, yeah? So we've been doing this one. Right, and then we've been doing, my medium punch is just like not working today. Right, we've been doing that combo, but the other one that you can do is actually this. And that sets up another safe jump. So let's have a look at that. So I'm going to tell him to wake up with the old Gore Shoryu. Boom. Okay, now safe jumps until you get to like a diamond are just so powerful, alright? So anytime I have an opportunity to do a safe jump, I basically keep it going, right? Because people don't know how to defend except by busting out inbounds. If someone is safe jumping at you, you want to wake up and try to perfect parry that jump in, right? Parry generally beats it. You're waking up in the frame in which they touch you. So it's relatively easy to get a perfect parry out. You can't just hold the button and wake up with it. You still need to press it at the right time, but at least the timing is easier than normal. You have a lot of visual cues for what the timing should be. Otherwise, you just block high. So block standing, let them hit you with the heavy punch, and then go straight into drive reversal, okay? Maybe I can try and have Akuma do that. I'll just have him jump at me, and we can show you what that looks like. Okay. Right, just that sort of thing. Okay, so you wake up into the jump, or you wake up blocking, and then you drive reversal in. So you just press forward, and then you should fly away pretty far, and you should be able to get out of the corner. Okay, but I doubt that many players are going to do that against you when you're bullying them with safe jumps. All right, so make sure you're using the safe jump, and beware of Jamie and Aki because they have a lot of safe jumps in this game, so they will often be using that as their way to get in against you. All right, so we've covered throw loops, the donkey kick sequence. We've covered meaty drive impact. We've covered overhead on very rare occasions. We've covered our wall splat, heavy donkey kick, safe jump. We've got a couple more combos that we want to cover, and one of them is the OD Tatsu, right? This guy. I've got to take my man off. Right. It's a nice amount of damage, 2,000. So you want to occasionally be doing that sequence rather than the donkey kick sequence. Okay. Particularly off, say, your safe jumps, you can get a bit of extra damage because the Tatsu juggles him, and then you can get the uppercut. It's also a really nice way to get into your level 3 super. And again, we use that method where we don't press 2 quarter circle fours, we just use 1 for the dragon punch and 1 for the level 3. Alright, so I find that to be quite a useful combo, and it's particularly useful when you're a bit more out here. Right? So this will take some practice, not just to be able to do this combo, but to be able to recognize situations where you're in this kind of place. So when you're out here and you drive impact into Akuma, or you get a drive impact or a drive rush on wake up or something like that, if you go into OD Tatsu, you can juggle him into the corner with a drive rush. Let's have a look. So something like... Right, and we saw why that was so hot, because at the end there, we got crouch light punch into heavy donkey kick, and that set up a safe jump for us. Right, so not only do we get to extend this combo in quite a juicy way and do a lot of damage, let's have a look at that, but we also get the safe jump at the end. Okay, now you got to learn what the limit is for this. So I think if you're about out here, it's not going to work. Right, so there I'm too far away for it, but from here, no problem. All right, and there'll be other situations where you can do it, like... Just be mindful that it takes a lot of bar. Okay, so the OD Tatsu takes 2 bars of drive gauge, and then the drive rush takes another bar of drive gauge. Okay, but this is definitely a combo that's worth having in your arsenal. And then final thing that I wanted to talk about is what to do when we stun our opponent, the stun combo. Now there's a really cool stun combo with level 2 super from Ryu, but we'll worry about that in gold, because I'm going to talk about the level 2 super mid-screen in gold as well. For now, I just want to teach you the big drive rush combo, which you can also integrate into your mid-screen game. So for this, what we want to do is go to the parameter settings and put Akuma's drive gauge down to 0, and make sure that his recovery is on standard. And then as soon as I close this menu, his drive gauge is going to drop to 0, and I want to save state. Okay, and now whenever I restart the save, Akuma's got no drive gauge, right? And then we want to go into dummy settings and just have him block all. Okay. Right, and you see that as soon as I hit him in this situation, he's going to be in burnout. And that's true of the drive impact as well, so we get the stun. So actually let him recover a bit of drive gauge and then do that sequence. Heavy punch, drive impact. So when your opponent's low on gauge like this, that's when it's really great to do this sequence, because they won't be expecting it, because you don't drive impact very often. They won't think that they're about to get stunned because they think they've got drive gauge, but you've burned through the drive gauge, right? Sometimes you also want to do this when Akuma has, well, when your opponent has really low drive gauge, because they think that they are not burnt out. So they can still DI against your DI, but then you hit them with the heavy punch, that burns them out, and then you do the drive impact, and now they can't drive impact you back, but they weren't aware of that, right? That kind of situation there, right? You burn them out, and then you immediately do the drive impact, right? So unless your opponent knows how to rush supers out and is really aware of their gauge, they're gonna get stunned in that situation. So set that up, become familiar with that sort of situation, try to be aware of it in matches. I think you're probably going to need to spend like at least a session, probably more, because these situations don't come up that often, where all you try to pay attention to is your opponent's drive gauge in the corner. So I'd say this is the last thing you should learn, but it's worth paying attention to. So after we get the stun, how can we really maximize our damage there? We want this one. Okay, that's a huge damage combo. And there are better things that you could do here, I would say, but this combo is something that you want to be really good at, because it comes up in a lot of different circumstances when you're in the corner, particularly off the shimmy, which we're going to talk about in gold. So if you shimmy, then you'll use this kind of combo, okay? But here we just want to do it off the stun. So it's just jump in, heavy punch. Instead of finishing with the dragon punch like we did in the early days of Iron, we're going to finish with a heavy donkey kick. But note that heavy punch does not go into heavy donkey kick on combo. Right? He blocks. The only thing that does is back heavy punch. That works, right? So you could do this. Right, that's not bad. 2640. It's not a good habit to get into mid-screen because this button has very short range. But here what we want to do is do our usual jump in heavy punch, and then we're going to drive rush. So you can drive rush either by double tapping forward or by hitting the parry button. Okay, now this is actually a kind of slightly difficult combo, I find, to get the timing right on this back heavy punch, because it's a link. And it's pretty tricky to do, okay? But you'll get the hang of it, all right? And then after you've done this donkey kick, it kind of holds him up in the air there, and so you can get a light DP, but you've got to really delay that light DP. All right, so let's get back to our realistic situation. There we go. That's nice. Nice. So you just want to practice that till it's really comfortable, and then add in a level 3 super at the end. Alright, and that is huge damage. We're going to hit him for like 5,000 here, even with the stun scaling. So when you stun your opponent, it does scale the damage, alright? But that's still a huge, colossal amount of damage, and that's one of the main ways that we get our level 3s out, is off that big, heavy donkey dragon punch combo in the corner. Alright, I think that should cover all our combos. It's going to take you a long time to learn all those combos. It's going to take you a long time to integrate them into your game, but just start with that safe jump combo. That is going to carry you so far, this one, right? That is going to carry you so far in this game. Alright, see you later, guys.